everybody. I'm Mike Connell, founder of Boston Making a Difference, and we're here again on BMAD Spotlight. And today with us we have a guest from South Florida, a young man by the name of George Ackerman. His mother recently passed away from Parkinson's, and he is now in the fight to help alleviate the disease of Parkinson's disease. We had a BMAD Spotlight the other day about Alzheimer's, and now we're going to talk about another deadly disease called Parkinson's disease. So welcome to the show, George. Glad you could make it here with us today.
Thank you for your time, and to all your viewers. Really honored to be with you and grateful that you would like to take the time to hear my story of my mother.
Well, you know, I mean, Parkinson's has been known for a long time. Muhammad Ali is one of the more famous people that we know of that, had Parkinson's, and, it's a tough thing to watch someone you love go through. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, what happened?
Sure. Unfortunately, my mother really showed signs about 15, 20 years ago, but not so much where it impacted life. So maybe a little trouble with her left arm. And you really could tell maybe by seeing a photograph, but not interrupting, the ability to live. So about 4 years ago, she started getting worse, and we always had hope that she'd still live and she'd be fine. At least, she'd struggle with the disease, but be able to still be there on Sundays with the grandkids and blowing bubbles, which was what her favorite thing was to do. So we decided to try one more thing because we've exhausted medicines and doctors, and we took her to University of Florida in hopes that a special study might be done to help her. And unfortunately, the day after she came back, we found out they drastically changed her medications, and it gave the reverse effect. And I ended up that night or the next night at the emergency room with her. And the only reason I discovered that she was very sick was that I received a call from my father, who was in New York and had called my mother in Florida and said, I need to rush over there to see if she's okay. So when I arrived at her home at around 2 or 3 a.m., she actually was moving her furniture out of her home in fear that somebody was going to harm her. So the delusions and some of the signs from Parkinson's and dementia were delusions and hallucinations, and it's something I'd say that night was probably one of the saddest nights I've had in my life. But just to conclude this little tale, it's the worst wasn't even at that moment. So I brought her to the emergency room, which was really difficult because she wasn't really wanting to go in the car. So you can imagine that drive. But finally, I left her for a minute to go back home and get her clothes, and I discovered she had notes around her room stating family members' names. And on those names, she wrote if they're really there or not. And that was probably, again, one of the worst nights I've ever had, to see not just a family member, but your loved one, your mother struggling like that. And I felt hopeless and helpless, sorry.
So tell us a little bit about that, how it affects the family too. It's really sad, the person themselves going through it, but tell us a little bit about, how it affected your family.
Sure. From what I hear, at least the nurses told me, I had an odd relationship with my mother. I thought everyone should have this type of relationship, but she was truly like my best friend. So even childhood, my parents were divorced. I was probably around 14, and she was always the primary individual I lived with and took care of me. And she really shaped who I am today in the field of law enforcement. And really, I've gained success because of her support, care, and motivation. But she was always right next to me throughout my journey. So it's actually funny. A month ago, and I don't know why, but I looked for some old pictures, and I saw whether it was law school graduation, different master's degree graduations, law enforcement graduation, every graduation, she was right next to me on stage. So she was, extremely supportive. So missing her and not having her here has really kind of crushed me personally, and also our whole family, because without her, and again, I try not to be too emotional because I've been doing this for 8 months, but today was tough because I, visited her gravesite. So probably shouldn't do that when I'm having an interview on Parkinson's. But I did that once for Parkinson's Foundation, and I actually couldn't even finish the interview. But I'm, trying to stay strong. And the whole reason I really excited to speak with you and be able to reach your listeners. Is the only thing left in my life is just to keep her memory going and make sure she's never forgotten, but really to also hope someday we have a cure so other families and individuals suffering from it today do not have to anymore.
Now that's probably, a whole nother episode, but I appreciate, that you're a child of a, divorced parent. I'm a divorced person myself. I have one son, and so that's a whole nother element that you said she was your best friend, and so you're living with her, I assumed, and so that's a crushing blow for anybody, to go through something like that. So I feel for you. I can see the heartbreak in your eyes, and it's an awfully difficult thing to lose your mother and your best friend in the same thing. So Parkinson's is, as we know, a lethal disease and a very debilitating disease to watch somebody go through. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now with the Together for Sharon and, helping people with this?
I mean, it's an interesting story too, because I've never dreamt we would do anything, and it wasn't in my picture of my, future. But I'm the kind of individual who likes to have something, could be something very minimal or small, just to think about your loved one. And again, it all happened just so fast, because after that time 4 years ago, she just deteriorated in the last year. Just last year, literally, it was the worst year of her life and ours. She just every week was something else, whether it was losing a tremendous amount of weight, then she lost the ability to drive, then she lost the ability to walk. Then we had to find caretakers, and we probably interviewed and used 70 different caretakers because we couldn't really find someone who was just, nice. I don't know why that's difficult, but in that field. So we finally did find some really good caretakers, but the expense was ridiculous. It was over $10,000 a month just to help. That's not counting food and other life necessities, but just to find a caretaker. We even sold her home and moved her right across the street from our home. And we were all planning this year to move in together. We didn't get to do that, but some of those times, unfortunately, were the worst. But if you could let me know the question again, sorry. What was your initial question?
Well, tell me a little bit about, your Together for Sharon, what you're doing there to help make change, for the better for others, maybe that.
Yeah, I enjoy speaking about this, so I could talk to you for 20 years and then you won't have a show. But so anyway, after all that, she did unfortunately pass away on 1/1/2020. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we had to have a funeral, and a lot of individuals were really supportive. So my wife mentioned, why don't we? Well, I wanted to make a little bracelet. I've seen them for different causes. I've never had one, and my wife said, why don't we, call it, write a little something on it and say Together for Sharon, and it like hit a little light in my brain that maybe this is a great idea. And I just thought I'd buy a few of them for people who are attending the funeral. And then, so basically, this is what it is. And I'd like to send you one. And it says Together for Sharon. It has Parkinson's disease awareness. And on the inside, it says In Memory of Sharon Riff Ackerman. So I basically bought just 5 or 10, gave them to a few individuals at the funeral. All of a sudden, my sister-in-law's boyfriend at the time texted me a picture of, it literally looked just like this. He wasn't in it, but it was just a hand wearing the band. And it really made me feel hope, because it made me feel like she'll always be remembered with one other person. So then all of a sudden another person did it, and another and another, and all of a sudden it turned into something very touching and heartfelt. So we decided, why not, continue this? So we paid our own money. I probably put a lot of money in, and I don't care because it's not about money. We do not accept any money, so we will never take money. This is not a company. It's just something that we found from our own heart. And we started togetherforsharon.com, and we poured a lot of our time, memories in. And we sent over, I'd say, 5,000 bands throughout the U.S. and also internationally. And it's been so successful. but I actually had to stop sending them internationally because I can't afford it. So we are going to continue in the United States, but we also, I always am an innovator, and I try to think, maybe if I could just reach one more person. And then we met, and I met Betsy, and she's helping with the Alzheimer's awareness. And I thought, what better way than to continue and to join together with other individuals. So now all the individuals, the only thing I ask for is just to send a little picture of their hand. So we share it's called the hand selfie, or the arm selfie, and a lot of the information's on the website, but we wanted a central place, or at least I did, where we can have some awareness. And we've teamed up with so many organizations, I can't list them, but some are Parkinson's Association, or the American Parkinson's Disease Association, Michael J. Fox Foundation and Team Fox, and also the Parkinson's Foundation. And we actually participated in all their virtual events and would like to do more. And the thing is, when my mother was very sick, there was no answer because no one really, could find a cure. So I just do it really, again, to help myself cope, but also to let other people know that, they're not alone.
Well, let me tell you a little bit of something I told Betsy as well. I deal with a company called Immunotech. They're out of Montreal, Canada, and they've been doing studies for over 40 years on the immune system and a molecule in your body called glutathione. And glutathione is the most important molecule in your immune system for creating T cells to fight off, disease and virus. And they've made some great study and information available on PubMed.gov. You can find some of their clinical studies that they've done on neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, like ALS, Alzheimer's, and they've shown some promising results in their studies that because a lot of these diseases is based around inflammation, oxidative stress on the brain and on other parts of your body, this product can help alleviate some of that. So you might want to share it with people that are struggling with these kinds of diseases, that there is some help out there. It's a natural product. It's just a daily supplement, but it is listed in the physician's desk reference, which is the drug catalog for doctors. They can prescribe it because it's had good results, and it helps people with their oxidative stress and the inflammation. So it can help with the symptoms and help slow things down. So, just to let you know that it is something out there that can help. So I'm not saying it's a cure by any means, but it does help people and slow down the progress of these awful diseases. So
I've been lucky to do blogs now, interviews, and magazines. So I always try to become family with you or any individuals who help support us. And I'd like to share this interview, of course, with we have over I think we have about 6,000 followers or more. And my dream would be to have 1 million, but I really never want to stop. So until somebody finds a cure, I'm not going to stop.
No, good for you. I mean, my group is called Boston Making a Difference, but it's really about people like you that are making a difference. And we want to, spread stories like yours around as much as we can, because the right person might just see it, you know what I mean, that could have, some true life-changing help for you and other people that are out there struggling with these awful, afflictions. And, the fact that you're doing this, not to look to raise money, but to raise awareness, God bless you. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, from Boston to New York to Florida, that's 3 states already we're going to reach, so.
That's excellent. No, it's well appreciated. And, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, we tried to make it easy because I had so many ideas and we had so many different thoughts that it's hard when you have a lot of social media. But now we're really excited to recently unveil, which is only about 2 months ago, the new website. So we poured a lot of our heart and soul, like I said, and money. So we do like to donate a few thousand a year to all the Parkinson's Association, just in my mother's memory. So if you go to www.together4Sharon, so it's spelled out, and you'll see my mother's story, my story, who we banded together, we call it. So you'll see like hundreds of individuals who wear the band around the United States, and even one, they all continue to post to my social media. You'll also see the partnerships we're with. In our interview today, I'm sure I'll be able to add, but I've done magazines, videos, TV, and radio. And also, finally, there's a contact us and about us. So if you also, second you log in, another last thing I try to do, and I've kind of stopped for now, but every single week I was making my own videos. So we have over 50 or 60 videos on all different topics. So one is about Together for Sharon, one is Parkinson's disease, finding the right care. So there's a lot of issues that I went through that, just were very difficult. And you can see behind me, that's our mascot. So that's Bella. We have a mascot that's really just a family dog. So, we have a lot of things going on. And as you were just, working individuals. So now that the fall started, a lot of my work is, much busier, but in the back of my mind, 24/7, my mother, and also, Parkinson's hope for a cure, it's always there. So there are actually some nights where I don't sleep, sadly, but I don't sleep just thinking about how to help. And then once I put my mind to it, I'll do it. So there's nothing I ever say or, think of that I won't do that's for positive reasons. So.
Well, that's awesome, George. I appreciate your efforts, and I'm sure many people out there that see this video will appreciate your efforts, and they'll say some prayers for you, I'm sure, too, you and your family, because it's an awful thing to go through. And although there's some relief now, from her passing, I'm sure your memories will help carry you through. You're missing your mom, and
that's the hard part, because that's what people do say that a lot, but unfortunately now it's 8 months later and I still miss her just as much every day, every second. So I don't know until there's a cure, where I know in my heart that someone else won't suffer, or their family, like I did with my family, then I don't think I will be able to rest. So, I don't think time's going to work. I think the only thing is if we could get the word out, your viewers and mine, and the whole world needs to make this a priority. So unfortunately, it's still not, because of the world has other issues going on. But I wish more people would care and support it. I find a lot of individuals don't even still know what Parkinson's is, even though, like you mentioned when we started, Michael J. Fox is one of the most famous entertainers, and now Ozzy Osbourne. So they bring light to it, but I don't want it to be where people just hear of it if they get it or their family member. And I think that if we have more individuals helping and joining in, then I really think there will be a cure any day. So.
Well, that's what we all hope for. So, George, thanks for taking some time to come on with me. For our viewers out there, go to togetherforsharon.com, leave a note, leave some help, get involved. So, George, thank you for having an impact, and thank you for being here with us today. That's another episode of BMAD Spotlight. Thanks for being here, George.